I'm recording a video after so long, so my heart is like pounding and racing because this feels so weird now because it's been so long since I've done this. Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is very long awaited. It's my husband's and I's fertility journey video, and I got a lot of questions about it, so I decided why don't I compile all the questions into one video, and that way it'll be more accessible for everyone rather than me answering them all the time. Okay, so I have all the points written on my phone right here just in case I forget something. Honestly, this video was hard to make because it just reminds you of like everything that you've been trying to forget. Okay, so I'm just gonna jump right into it. My husband and I, we've been married for 3 years. Right after we got married, I did take birth control for 1 month, but then I stopped because of the side effects. Like I started like developing like blood clotting symptoms. So then we tried to conceive 5 months after marriage, and I was like, there is no way I'm gonna get pregnant this fast, so we just went for it. So I got pregnant in December of 2019, which was literally the same month that we were trying for fun, and I just couldn't believe it because I was like, there's no way you get pregnant this fast. I had some spotting, which I thought was implantation spotting, because it's really hard to tell the difference between like period spotting and implantation spotting. So I went to the walk-in clinic because at that time we didn't have a family doctor. They did a urine test and they found out that I was pregnant. So they gave me a requisition for an ultrasound that I got done, but in the ultrasound they couldn't see anything in my uterus, which is where the pregnancy is usually supposed to be. So they said it was still like really early on, like 3-4 weeks, so maybe that's why they couldn't see it on the ultrasound. So I continued to have spotting for weeks, and the walk-in clinic doctor, she was literally an angel. She said that like if you were my daughter, I would take you to like the hospital right away just to figure out like what's going on, because this doesn't sound normal. I went to the hospital. I stayed in there for 6 hours because, you know, Canadian hospitals. They did some blood tests, urine samples, and another ultrasound where they said they couldn't see anything in the uterus, but they saw something in the tube. And at that time we had no idea that like tube pregnancies existed. Like we like I've heard of it, but like we've never actually had it happen to someone in our families. Nonetheless, we waited for my HCG, which is the pregnancy hormone, level to increase, and it was doubling. We were like where is that? Like, why can't we see it, right? Damn. Okay, so they did another ultrasound, and this time it showed that there was something in the tube, but there wasn't anything in the uterus. So they concluded that it was an ectopic pregnancy, which means that the pregnancy, it gets attached to your tube, like inside. And then once it gets attached, like you can't move it, or like it can't move by itself or at all. So it's just there. So yeah, they gave us 2 options. One of them was the injection to abort the pregnancy, because once it's in the tube, like it just can't live. It's actually really dangerous for the person that's carrying the pregnancy, because your tube could burst and you could have like a lot of internal bleeding. So they gave us 2 options, either the injection or they could do like a little surgery and they could take it out themselves. We didn't want to opt for surgery because like I've never had surgery and I was like terrified. So we were like, instead of like opening me up, we can just take the injection and just pray that like everything clears out by itself. So that's what they did. The injection is called methotrexate. So the nurse that injected me with the injection, she was wearing like a complete like yellow biohazard suit, and I was just like traumatized, and I was like, if it's that dangerous, why is it going inside of me? You know, like you get a little bit scared. But that was that. We went home, and then I was having some shoulder and back pain, which was a really concerning symptom for an ectopic pregnancy, because it means that your tube could have burst, and if it bursts, then you need like a major surgery to clear it out, because like it just goes like everywhere. like something exploding. Like imagine something exploding, it just goes like everywhere, so you need like a major surgery, so we rushed back to the hospital. It was like around 2-3 a.m. and then they did some more tests, and then they gave us some news. The news was honestly traumatizing. The doctor came in and she said that according to the ultrasound, that they saw something in my uterus, like maybe it could have been like a twin pregnancy or something. So at the time we were like horrified. We were like, but I just had an injection to abort the pregnancy, like in my tube. And like honestly, we were so confused and like literally baffled, because we were like, I literally just took an injection to abort the pregnancy in my tube. That means the one in my uterus, even if it was like healthy and something, it's not gonna make it either. So we were like, I don't know, like I froze up and I was like, I have no idea what to do. Like I just found out like a day ago that like I'm pregnant, but it's in my tube, and now this is happening. Like and then after like 15 minutes, it was my husband and my mom with me in the room. So after like 15 minutes of like us just discussing and like being horrified, the doctor comes back in and she's like, there was a mistake with the ultrasound and there was only one pregnancy in my tube and no pregnancy in my uterus. So it was just like I was so mad at that point. I was like, one day ago I literally found out that I have an ectopic pregnancy. Today you're telling, and then I had an injection to abort it, and then now you're telling me there was another pregnancy. But then you come back 15 minutes later, literally 15 minutes, like I was in pain, and she comes back and she's like, oh no, everything's normal. And like, yeah, you can't really say anything at that point because you're just like thank God there wasn't anything there. But then you're also like, you're just like, I was just shocked, honestly. I have no words. So also on the ultrasound, they found out that the injection didn't work properly, or it didn't work at all, and the pregnancy was still there and it was still growing, and there was a chance that my tube could burst. They said that the only option would be surgery, and I was scared. It's just a lot of events happening in like a week. First, we had like no idea what was going on with me, so that was terrifying on its own. And then we found out I was pregnant, so I was like really happy and stuff. And then you find out that that pregnancy is never going to make it. And just like everything after that, so it's just like really hard. And we're back. Also, if you see me smiling in this video, it's just literally me trying to not cry. And if you see me like looking away from the camera, like over there or like down there, it's just a really uncomfortable topic for me to talk about. So yeah, I'm trying my best. So we agreed to the surgery and they put me under general anesthesia and they performed the laparoscopy. Okay, so while they were performing the laparoscopy, they decided to remove my right tube, in which the pregnancy was, because it was close to bursting. And I was also having internal bleeding at the time. So the recovery was really difficult because A, you're dealing with the loss, and then B, the after effects of the surgery. It's really hard to sleep at night, it's really hard to eat, sit up. Okay, so going back to the surgery, after it happened, the doctor that performed my surgery diagnosed me with endometriosis, which was the cause of the ectopic pregnancy. So in my case, the cells of the uterus were growing in my tube, which is why they like blocked my tube and the pregnancy kind of just got stuck. It felt nice to kind of have an answer to my question as to like why my period literally caused me like unbearable pain. I used to vomit every time I had my period. I still do, but yeah. And I also have like a lot of lower back pain, which is big symptoms of endometriosis. So from then on, my mom researched a lot and found out that gluten-free and plant-based diets help a lot with endometriosis pain, and they balance your hormones. I ended up adopting the gluten-free and plant-free diet, but it was really hard and depressing not to eat gluten anymore because the gluten is like in literally everything. It's very prevalent in South Asian food, so like roti, golgappe, anything and everything majority has gluten. After like 2 complete years of this struggle, I'm so glad to say that I can finally sit with family that's eating like gluten foods and not feel like, oh, I wish I was eating that. If you want like a detailed video about my diet and everything, comment below. It's like really lengthy, so I want to take it to like a different video. Now moving on to the fertility journey, I assumed that since I got pregnant the first time so fast, that the second time would literally be like this, but I was wrong.